mixology school to be called Mr. Thank you.
There he goes. It's starting.
All right.
Come on, show me the screen. Come on. There we go. It's live. Hi, and welcome to MCC Radio. My name is John.
My name is Brian.
And today's episode is episode 5. And we're calling it the Ghostbusters episode.
That's indeed. And that would be because we have a special guest with us today. His name is Brily. He's
me.
Yeah. He's a Ghostbuster. We actually got a Ghostbuster.
A real one.
That would explain the flight suit, yes.
Yes.
And the Proton pack and all the other fun little gadgets.
The smug sense of self-satisfaction.
That's so right.
Okay, so Brian, what do we got to talk about?
Okay, well, like we always do, we like to do our housekeeping, whatever you want to call that.
Yep.
So we got a few things in stock right now in our store. I know I've put this out on our page. There it is. It's a, well, sorry, not that, the T-shirt.
Oh, hold on. Well, why'd you say so?
Oops.
There we go.
We got the T-shirt. Yes.
Yay.
We've been talking about that for a while now. We have very limited quantities. So I'm going to get John here to post a couple of them in our store and see if anybody wants them. We're also going to be doing our a car show soon in a couple weeks. And I'm going to have some out there, and I'm going to see how well it does there. And we also have a mug.
Oh, yeah, the mug. Pac-Man mug.
This is something new. I kind of came across these today, and I thought this would be kind of cool.
Ooh,
maybe
3D.
someone might like one. And you know what's cool? They're those thermal kind or whatever you want to call it. So you put hot water in it, and Pac-Man appears with all the dots, and it looks cool.
Yeah, it's perfect.
I thought it was cool.
Anything for the retro gamer, we will provide for them.
All things Pac-Man, I guess. I don't know. Another thing that I want to talk about is we have a couple of new businesses in our hub. One of them is called Beach Sound Records. They're a little store in Toronto. If you want their information, you can go on our website, check out our hub. Actually have it on a rotating banner right now. I was speaking to the guy the other day, and he's this guy's knowledgeable. He knows his stuff. He loves vinyl. He loves the retro style of playing on the record player and stuff. He's been doing this for years, and he knows all of the people in the industry in Toronto. So if you're downtown Toronto, check him out. He's awesome. He might even get us to build a website for him. I don't know. He's kind of old school, so he doesn't have his full-on web presence.
That's fine. We can help him out.
He's reaching out to us, and
that's what we do at the Man Cave Cinema. Not only we are a company or a business ourselves, we are out to help other small businesses too, and that's what I tell everybody.
And one more thing I'd like to point out, and I think we're going to get a link on our website soon, is we were mentioned in another podcast called The Intellivisionaries.
Yes.
Which is pretty cool. We didn't even ask them to. They just found us, and I was like, hey, look at that. And I sent out a link to John. I'm like, check this out. And
yeah, it was very cool.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. So thanks, guys. We're going to put a link to your website on our website, and hopefully we can work together at some point.
Absolutely.
Because, I love Intellivision.
Yes, exactly. And I don't. But it's okay. That's what we can talk about. I have a piece of news. Probably everybody knows now on the Facebook pages. But I got an Ed Aladdin twin Super 78 joystick controller.
Yes.
And I will be... This is... just to let you know, Brily.
I'm guessing it's a controller for joysticks?
For Atari.
For Atari?
And it's built around an arcade joystick and buttons.
Nice.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's not like the Atari joysticks that you're going to crank over to just move left or crank over to move right. And rapid firing with your thumb does not work, okay, folks? But with the Super 78, dude, playing like asteroids, just like the arcade.
Brings you right back to that arcade feel.
Oh, totally. And then my daughter and I were playing two-player Centipede, and that was amazing. Just, again, firing away. But the thing is super sensitive. I mean, you just move it a bit, and it moves the character right away. Like, it's really fast. So that takes a little bit of getting used to. But once you get used to it, boom, 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 just like the arcade. It's awesome.
Good job, Ed.
Awesome. Okay. Oh, yeah. Video review coming in a couple of days.
Yeah, and I remember I was speaking with on the Facebook about the controller, And I said, I really need one for ColecoVision because that controller is
Ed's
horrid.
Ed's making them.
Yeah, I know. He did say that. He's like, they're on, productions. Because I'm like, the two systems you need to fix are the Atari 5200 and the ColecoVision.
And I'm telling you, once he makes them for Coleco and how good Coleco emulates the arcade games, it'll be fucking fantastic. Sorry, Ed, I don't want to swear. Well, no, I'm proving a point. I'm not swearing for the sake of swearing. His stuff is fucking amazing. People check him out. edladden.com. Check out his joysticks. Okay.
So, I would like to introduce Brily. Now, the reason why we have Brily on the show, and I'd like to give a shout out to, is
I was passing by and I wanted a place to sit down.
I saw a Ghostbuster on the street and I grabbed him. No.
I'm being paid for this, right?
Water. So my wife actually came up with the idea. She passed it along to me. She's like, why don't you guys have the Ontario Ghostbusters? And I'm like, well, I wonder if they'll even show up. They're kind of busy right now. There's a movie out and, it's not as... And so, I'd like to thank my wife for that because if it wasn't for her, I probably would have never thought of this. And she's also the reason why we also have Kerry Eddie Law, another person in our business in our hub. He's a lawyer, and
it's great when the significant others get involved. So it's good that yours is.
Yeah. She got she got us a business for the hub, and she got us a Ghostbuster. So I'm really happy with that. But so Brily,
go your wife.
Go my wife. So Brily, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Personally,
I
like long walks on the beach. I prefer peach lollipops to orange. I'm a Cancer, not just astrologically. I spread to everything I touch.
Okay, Tex, come on, let's tell us about the Ghostbusters thing.
Okay, so I'm one of the presidents of the Ontario Ghostbusters. We're a group that raises charity money. This year we're focusing on the Canadian Women's Foundation.
Oh, very cool.
Well, with the new movie coming out, we wanted to focus on a women's charity, partially due to the controversies around it.
Yes.
And partially just because it's a good cause, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think just about every charity group kind of runs into that problem at some point where there are so many good causes.
Yes.
And there are so many people who need help. And it can almost feel like you are starving at a buffet. You have so many options, it paralyzes you. Right. So, we wanted to focus on women.
Okay.
And I really like the idea of giving to a bursary that focused on women in the trades. Because in the end, that's really what the Ghostbusters always were.
Right.
They were spectral janitors. They were everyday schmucks.
Yes.
Who just happen to deal with the paranormal, right?
Yeah. Well, everyday scientists.
Everyday scientist schmucks. That was something I really wanted to give to. But the other members of the group very correctly said, well, there are women's shelters.
Yes.
And there are women issues. And there are all sorts of things we could give. And now that means we have to we were looking like, okay, we should start choosing. What are we going to do? And then we looked into the Canadian Women's Foundation, and they give to all of it.
Oh, perfect.
It's everything. You can donate specifically for one aspect or one area if you choose.
Right.
But you can also just have, just across the board, whatever is necessary.
So they can divvy up the money to all the different causes that they umbrella around.
And they have it all out on their website saying, here's what we're supporting. If it is in this area, we've got it listed on here. You can go say we are giving to this shelter, this bursary, this program, and that money can go to that program.
See, this is important because, Brian, you have a daughter, I have a daughter, and it's important that we teach them to be strong people.
Yes. And all this, there's no other word to say, bullshit about the Ghostbuster movie being girls. I mean, I don't know what the hell people are talking about.
Everybody in the States is going to probably hate me for saying this, and I'm going to say it anyways. It's probably all the fucking Republican men who are saying that because they're so anti, if it's not men running the place, it's bullshit. No, fuck you.
I don't know.
Women are just as good as men, and probably even better. So
I think they just also needed something to pick on, right? They couldn't really just say, well it's going to be
anything.
terrible.
They were going to pick on whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever came out. being in the milieu, if you will, being in the ghostbusting trade.
Yeah.
Obviously, as information was brought to the public, we were one of the very first consumers of it. We were one of the very first people to be like, that's the uniform. Those are the packs.
Yeah.
And universally, anytime any of that was announced, there was a flood of people going, that's terrible. That looks terrible.
Look, the same thing happened
Right?
even with my favorite sci-fi show, Battlestar Galactica, when they did
They redid it.
When they did the reboot, everybody was hating on it. Everybody. Then as soon as it came out, I was like, hey, not bad.
This is one of the best science fiction shows that are on television.
Exactly. Oh, forget about the old one now. Well, it's exactly the same thing. So what? It's women. So what? It's changed a little bit. Still ghostbusting. It's still Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
So,
And who? I'm gonna hate myself, but that chubby. I don't want to say fat, but I love her to pieces. I know.
Be nice, man.
Look, me too. I know. But who's that actress again? She's
Melissa
on Molly and Mike.
McCarthy.
Yes, she's hilarious. I love her. And how is she in the movie?
Actually, pretty good.
I enjoyed her. I have to
she-
say, though, my favorite character, and I went in liking Holtzman, right?
Kate McKinnon. Yeah.
Yeah, I went in liking
A
Kate
lot of talk about
because
her.
if I can be a little arrogant, and if history proves anything, I can be a little arrogant. We serve almost the same role in our respective groups. I'm the one who makes a lot of our equipment. I'm the one who upkeeps it. So I automatically have I feel a little sense of kinship.
You're the
with,
heart of the Ghostbusters.
She's the one who's making this stuff,
Okay,
right?
so you associated.
Yeah,
with
I associate with her right away, right?
Yeah.
But I have to say, Patty blew me away.
Patty was good.
I loved her. She
really,
easily rocketed to my number one position.
She fit right in there, and she really I know one of the discussions I was having this morning with my wife and daughter was about the new Ghostbusters versus the old one, and trying to figure out, was one of the girls, or did they match up with the original? So which one was the Egon? Which one was this the Venkman? Which one was Stantz? And I was kind of like, I don't think they really tried to do that.
No, they didn't.
And you can almost take a bit of each of their personalities and put them into the single girls themselves. So you can know if you notice,
well, I think it would be a monstrous disservice if they try to be
the same character.
Yeah, the same character. Okay, we're going to hire someone, and I want you to do your Bill Murray impersonation. And that's that's the movie. That's your character.
Yeah.
Your character is trying very, very hard to be Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Period. You are never going to do that.
No, that's impossible.
And that's not only is that impossible, it's a terrible character.
Yeah.
Right? There is no way for you to make that character work.
Bill Murray made it
It's Bill Murray.
Yeah, it's a unique thing.
Yeah.
It's Bill Murray.
It is far, far better for you to say, okay, your character's motivations are this, and I'm going to let you develop that character for your own sake,
right.
And let people who are funny actually develop their own sense of humor for it, actually develop their own characters.
Yeah.
Because that is when you are not aping Bill Murray's character. You are, in fact, then following in his acting shoes. You are doing something that he did, and he does so very, very well.
Yeah.
Right? So it is, if it is parody, it is parody in the most loving and generous and perfect of ways.
Yeah.
Because you are not trying to parody as much as you are actually saying, this is what you did so well. You are the one who made this work, and this is how you made this work, and now I want to make that work myself. It is like seeing Marlon Brando and going, I want to be now a method actor. Because he made that work. And that is the best way to make that work.
Exactly. You got to complement the originals. And this is all part of that, you're taking away my 80s, you're taking away my... What do you want to call that?
The only thing
nostalgia.
The only thing that took away the
Yeah.
80s was 1999.
Exactly. And what this movie did was it complemented the original movie. It did not erase it.
No.
And I saw a lot of
and if anybody tells me this Ghostbusters 2, is better than this one, then I'm going to shoot him. I hated Ghostbusters 2.
Really?
Couldn't stand it. Hated it.
Okay,
Really?
the Statue of Liberty scene was the only one I had a gripe
Well,
about.
that's what it killed me on. When they're like,
they needed something to kind of.
But they were
the
using an
stay
NES Advantage
pump.
controller.
That was,
I thought you would appreciate that beyond anything else.
that was the
You
only-
got me. You got me on that one. That's a good one.
Go figure. The guy with the flight suit knows what props they were using.
Maybe today they would use an Ed Aladdin controller. I don't know.
Yeah, not plug.
Bop, 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 smash the window.
But so the second movie, it was all right. And you know what? I kind of say that they're going to have the same problem with the second of the reboot. And you know there's going to be a second because you know the way they ended it.
Yep.
So it's obvious there's going to be a second.
Well, plus it's making money,
it's
so
Sony.
Yeah.
They want
Hollywood
money.
is not going to let up on anything that makes money.
The
No, of course
The thing
not.
I thought was the problem with the second one is they had to kind of come up with a reason why these ghosts are coming back. Where are they coming from? And that's not easy to do without replicating the first one and saying, okay, there's another gozer. So
Once you go with a god, it's really hard to step down from there.
exactly, and it made sense what they did. Like when they're like 5 years later, they're all run down. They're now just going to birthday parties. They're not the Ghostbusters
Zulu
anymore.
unit.
Yeah, Egon just completely was like, oh, I'm going to do my own thing.
My question then for you fellows is that do you follow the expanded universe? Do you follow the video game of the Ghostbusters? Perhaps even the IDW comic series that's been going on?
No.
So those are more direct translations or direct continuations of the storyline from the first two movies.
Okay.
And I have to say, again, as a fan, if they had chosen to continue that storyline,
Yeah.
I would have faced a really hard choice of I love what they did with the video game. I love what they do with comic books. Not only do the characters feel natural,
Yeah.
it feels like a very organic continuation of the story, and it gives me more of what I love about the movies.
Okay.
And they bring it into such a beautiful, larger world.
Right.
Because then I can see the connections between this and that, and where that comes from, and where this comes from. It
Right.
allows them to expand the characters,
Right.
both the villains and the heroes, and make it just a wonderful tapestry.
Right.
And if they had continued the movie line,
Yeah.
they would have either had to go, okay, jump ahead 40 years, and now they're passing the torch, and
Yeah,
so
but-
we're giving this gap
But-
for everything to be in.
But Brily, it's always like that in Hollywood. There's even the Star Wars expanded universe has such great stories in it.
Yeah, but
And
they cut
won't-
that all out.
I know, but that's what I mean. They cut it all out. They don't want anything.
They had a
with-
huge
And that's
leap,
the problem. I mean, and so many Star Wars people now are, or were, upset about that.
Yeah.
Because they were upset, well, I love these comics, these books, these
Yes,
games,
exactly.
and now you're saying that,
That didn't
it almost,
happen.
that feels like, even though I enjoyed it, and I can still enjoy it because there are actual items that I can reread and enjoy,
Yeah.
you are removing that
Yes.
from the storyline.
Kind of like parallel worlds, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
and but on the one hand, that does open the option of how do they then bring that character back in? How do they then talk about it? Because that allows them to almost look at a full character arc and say, this character starts here and he ends here, and in between we had this kind of meandering line of some stories worked and some didn't work and some things stuck and some things didn't. But when we know the beginning and the end, let's hit the highlights, and if we need to change that character a little bit to fit in the new world, isn't it interesting when we reintroduce him and he's going to be like this?
Yeah.
Right? And I think there's some storytelling merit in that, but again, as a fan of Ghostbusters,
But wouldn't you need the same actors to do that?
The cast.
that is part of the problem.
That
right?
is-
They
See,
kind
that's
of
the problem.
sat
And
on
it-
it too long, right?
And it's part of it's something you can do with a comic book
Yes.
so much easier than
they're
you can
drawings.
do.
Yeah.
Well, it's not. It's the writer. The writer has to find the right tone for the character.
Yes.
And explain their actions.
Yeah.
And the writer they have is perfect. So very few people can write a Venkman story and have him not be the only person effectively in the story that matters, right?
Yeah, right.
It's either smarmy, smart-ass answers and he contributes nothing, or he is everything and the other guys are just kind of there.
Right.
Right? It's very hard to find that balance.
Right.
Yeah.
And the continuing IDW series totally gets that balance.
Good.
So again, as a fan, if they had chosen to continue the storyline, I would have been faced with that very real dilemma of, well, all of this is the continuation that I love. And if you skip over it, or if you just erase it from the canon, I'm going to be a little upset. Because I love these stories, and I want to see them recognized for what they are. Yeah. And that is the beautiful continuation of this story that I love. But if you jump it, then maybe there's room there, but you're also then sort of limiting it, and you can only tell one story now.
Right.
Because, again, the original cast is just...
It's just too good.
I was about to say too old, but
no,
they're good too old. They're too good too.
Perhaps though, if because Ghostbusters 2 was what 90. When did it? 89. 89. That's right. So if they were to do the third one, say 5 years later, maybe, right? And it seemed like there was, from what I've learned and from the interviews I've heard, even Ivan Reitman was talking about it, that they've tried, they wrote scripts for it, things got scrapped. Bill Murray was not on board.
No one pulled the torch for Ghostbusters 3 more than Aykroyd.
Aykroyd was the only guy.
It's his baby. I mean, come on.
Yeah, he wanted this. I think when they wrapped Ghostbusters 2, he was already like, okay, Ghostbusters 3 is going to be this.
Going,
Right? And part of the problem, and probably part of the problem you have with Ghostbusters 2, is that a lot of the studio got involved. And they said, we love the first one, but you know what? We don't want it to be too scary because we have this kids cartoon. And it's doing really well, so we want to make this Slimer character a little bit bigger. Can we punch his story up a little? We don't want to have... You cannot put in a dirty joke here. You can't have a sex joke in this.
And with smoking.
Yep, you can't... No, they can't. It's no good anymore. And it's like... You're automatically restraining these people from doing what made the first one so good.
If you restrain Bill Murray, you are destroying your movie. You restrain him, it's game over.
And that's possibly why he didn't want to do it.
He needs to be able to ad-lib. That's his shtick. He'll read lines, but then he'll get into it, and... He'll just shoot out like that. Whoa, 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 whoa. Good shooting, Tex. That line on the floor every time I hear that. And I don't think that was scripted.
Probably not. I don't think...
well, I wasn't there on the day.
No.
I don't think he really... Actually, from what I've read about the first movie, I could be wrong, but they didn't script very much of it. Like, they
Oh, well, I mean, it was scripted. Of course it was scripted, but I'm sure they ad-libbed as much
as... But they're professionals, all of them. They're all professional comedians. That's what comedians do. You feel the moment, you find a joke in that moment, and you say it.
You say it.
If it's not on the piece of paper, it's like, forget it. I don't feel it. Like,
and you need to have surrounding actors who are both good enough actors to run with it and go, that is a great joke, and you know what? I'm not going to try to top you. I'm going to support this joke through some other action.
And hence, that's what City TV or SCTV. What's that thing called again? I'm losing my mind. The type of comedy thing where you say a place and whatever, and the
improv.
actor. That's all they did. These guys are improv professionals.
Yeah.
They all did SNL. They all did all this stuff.
Second City,
In Second City.
Chicago was where most of them got their start.
Exactly. So for them, like you said, when one guy starts going off on something funny, the other guys support him without even thinking. They just do it.
I remember reading, or I think I was reading about it. The scene in the first movie when they're first going through the library, and Egon's got the PKA meter and he's walking around, and all of a sudden the bookshelf falls. And then Venkman just like, happened to you before? First time? For what I understand, that wasn't planned.
Really?
That was not planned. And that bookshelf just fell. And
Man, I'm a terrible Ghostbusters fan. I can't tell you about what Bill Murray or Dan Aykroyd were thinking at any one point in the movie.
But the fact that they were able to keep their composure and keep in character and not just be like, holy shit! Stop!
No, exactly.
I'm pretty sure that at least the bookcase falling was planned. Otherwise, the director probably would have been coming out going, "Oh my God, don't kill my actors!"
but even,
but they weren't. Wasn't this like when they filmed Ghostbusters? Like, wasn't it more of a lower budgeted film at the time? Like, it wasn't expected to be a big.
No, they definitely didn't expect it to be a big, huge thing. part of what, and there's other stories about it. Bill Murray was mainly involved because he wanted to have another more artistic project financed, and he says, "Okay, I'm going to do your comedy if you help finance my more artistic movie."
He wouldn't have been in it if it wasn't for Belushi.
Well, yeah, and that was the other thing, was Aykroyd had a little bit more free reign to say, okay, I gave you Blues Brothers, and that was the #1 movie and CD. They didn't have CDs. That was the #1 movie and record, and that was top. Here's a little something off the wall, and here's how I'm going to have it made because this was so mega successful. I have a little bit of play with the studio execs. Even with that, it took him and Bill Murray maybe not fresh off Stripes, but he was known,
more or less, yeah.
Yeah, he was
Stripes.
known for Stripes. Same with Ramis and all of it. That was the conflagration that forged this movie, right?
Yes, exactly.
It's a singular event.
Yeah.
It's a culmination of moments that could not be planned or returned.
That's why
right?
it's so bloody funny and so entertaining.
Exactly.
That's why, I'm not in everything that I like. I'm not a huge fanboy. Like, I don't dress up and I don't wear T-shirts and stuff like that.
So it's just laundry day.
Yeah, I even
all
though I
I'm
like to do this stuff, even though I like to do Batman hat, even though I like to do all this stuff, it doesn't drive me to do that, but I still like it. And I've totally fucking forgotten the point I was gonna.
You went off on a tangent.
You're trying to say you're a fanboy.
My goodness.
But with Ghostbusters, there's so many classic little lines. Even though I hate saying this, even though as a smoker, when Aykroyd had the cigarette hanging off his tongue or off his lip, and it's just stuck there, and he's like freaking out. That's happened to me before in the past because it just happens. Cigarettes tend to stick like that, but it's like, and I start walking around, outside going, "Thankman, Thankman."
Have you considered switching to a pipe?
No. But that's the thing. Just little things that happen.
Might not be as dramatic with the pipe hanging off your lip.
No, but the point is, just those little moments in the movie has stuck with me, and when it happens to me, it's like the poof flashback to that point in that movie, and I'm on the floor.
So to bring this back to the recent movie, to the 2016 reboot, I have a standard story I have for this. So when we originally saw it, one of our members has an 8-year-old and a 2-year-old daughter, and she brought them to see the movie.
2-year-old?
Right? Yeah. Well, I mean, I saw it when I was the first one when I was about that age too, right? And they loved it. Loved it. I mean, I found some parts funny. I found some parts a little bit tenser than others. They loved it. Yeah. Beyond any of it.
There was a few, yeah. So I saw it yesterday with my daughter as well, and my wife. And there was a few scenes where my daughter was falling over laughing. Yep. Like, she was just like, it was killing. And the thing is, though, they weren't really appropriate for a 6-year-old. Well, she's going to be 7, but, I mean, they weren't really appropriate. Like, there was a scene where the guy's, like, doing this with his middle finger.
Yeah, but it's the context,
and,
right?
And she knows what that means.
Yeah.
And so she was laughing her butt off. And I'm just like, it's funny that she likes that, but, I don't want her at school giving the finger. Yeah. I saw it in the movie. There was a few... There was a few dirty words and stuff, but I don't think she would have got it, right?
I think it's very comparable to the first movie in that regard.
Yeah, but and she watches the first one all the time.
But here's my point. So, seeing the movie, I liked it. Yeah. I'm assuming you liked it as well. But here's the thing. The movie wasn't really meant for us.
No.
It was meant for your daughter. It was meant for my friend's daughter. They were the real target audience. Right? And to say that there's this movie out that's targeted at like 8 to 12-year-old girls, and yet I can watch it and still enjoy it.
Careful with that.
That's saying something really powerful about it, because there are very few things that are meant for 8-year-old girls that I, as an adult male, can go, that was enjoyable.
Yeah.
I got a little something out of that.
Sure. I mean, it wasn't. I don't think it was intended to be just for girls. So I think they knew that they're going to target the girls, but they're also going to get all of the guys like us who will go and see it.
And that's what part of that is what makes me excited for the future, because when those girls grow up, when they're 12, when they're 13, when they're 14, and they go, you know what? I saw this when I was a kid, and I loved it, and I thought it was the greatest thing ever, and I want to use that then to build my own Proton pack. I want to use that then to build what I loved, who will have quotes from the movie who they've grown up like, and they will be quoting the 2016 movie like that was the literary classic, right?
Exactly.
And I don't know if that's going to happen with my daughter, because she loves the first movie. Actually, she started. It was probably a year ago, I think, maybe a year ago, a little bit longer. They played it on TV. It was on Halloween, or around the time, and it was on. So she started watching it, and she liked it. So then that was around the time, I think, when we got Netflix set up. So then I'm like, oh well, because she's like, I want to watch Ghostbusters. I'm like, okay, we have it on Netflix. So, and I just set up Netflix at the time, and we didn't have the what do you call it, unlimited broadband internet. So she used up all of our internet within a week, just watching Ghostbusters every day. Like every day she was watching it. And I think she knows the movie line to line now. And when she saw Ghostbusters in theater, the new one, I think she liked it, but I think she still likes the original. And so it's going to be weird that you got this kind of...
It's the same thing with my kids with Star Wars. They were born during when the episode 1, 2, and 3 came out.
Yeah.
They still prefer 4, 5, and 6. Just like everybody else.
But at least that's not a reboot.
No, it's kind of George Lucas rebooted it backwards.
Because there's this thing now where we're kind of all going through this reboot shock, and I think we're all we grew up in the 80s, or we kind of grew up with these movies to begin with, right? So these reboots, which have been coming out now for a while, like we were saying before the podcast, RoboCop was rebooted, and you guys liked it, I didn't.
Judge Dredd.
Judge Dredd was rebooted.
Yeah, but the Judge Dredd reboot was so much better.
Oh, it was amazing. Okay, Stallone was the worst, and the second one was just, and Carl Urban, who plays the McCoy in Star Trek, was just phenomenal as anyway.
But we also
I really like the low production value look of it too. Like,
yes,
it's just like the same blank corridor, and it with just different lighting. And on the one hand, it seems like, man, look at these people saving this money. They're just going back and forth doing the same stuff. And that's when you kind of take a bigger world view.
Yes.
And you look back and going, actually, this entire city block-sized building is all the same corridor.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And these people have to live here. Man, I'd be a little violent if this was my living conditions as well. Right? Like, it was really well done. And I think that was a little bit of what the reboot haters were afraid of, because we've all seen good reboots and bad.
Yeah.
For every Casino Royale, for every Star Trek, the 2009 Star Trek, there's a Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Which is just not going to happen.
They just can't make that movie. They just can't make it.
Well, I think they've reached the point.
They've tried twice.
Like,
it's terrible.
The new Fantastic Four movie.
There was a new one, and there was the old one.
I mean, the old one wasn't cinematic masterpiece, but it was better than this one.
I didn't even want to see it. I was.
I'm not a big Marvel fan, but the Fantastic Four was just horrible.
Well, I think they've finally done the thing that happened with Sony and Spider-Man. They've attempted it so many times, and it's failed enough. I hope they just give it to Marvel and say, you do it.
No,
we'll split the profits.
They gave Spider-Man to the Avengers.
Sony will hold on to that. It's a cash cow, and they need
Sony
cash.
still owns the thematic rights to Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But they're just allowing Marvel to now script and plan those movies.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Do it right.
But
well, yeah, because they've clearly shown that they know what the hell they're doing, right?
But the one thing I'm going to be honest, okay, and I'll probably piss off a lot of people, including you guys here. And especially,
Wait a minute. Before you talk, I need to take a drink.
Oh, okay. Do you have water?
I need to put water in my mouth before you say this.
Don't give me a Bill Murray.
No. Get it down.
I can't promise that.
Anyways, I apologize, Valerie from Montreal. I hate all the Marvel movies. Okay, but there's a caveat there, okay?
Okay.
I'm not a big Marvel fan.
Not a comic book fan?
You're a DC fan.
I'm a somewhat of a DC fan. Sorry, Brian. Again, because I'm not a super huge fanboy, but I've always
Batman.
I always liked Superman. I always liked Batman. Captain America, the first movie I loved. The second one, not so much.
I like the first Iron Man. I thought that was good.
See, I like the second Captain America way more than the first.
No, I like the first one better. I don't know why. I just dug it more.
I mean,
just because
there's always something about an origin story that's both wonderful and at the same time kind of scripted, which is always unfortunate.
Yes.
It is like, okay, we all know how Batman gets here.
Yes.
We all
We've had
know
about
he had
3
the
movies to
thing,
explain
and he's
that.
got the thing, and then he does the thing. And there's something about, okay, we have to hit these certain beats, so there's only so much they can do, right? I think that's part of the reason why with Sony's or Marvel's new handling of Spider-Man, they just skipped the entire origin part and just said, look, if you don't know how he got this power by now,
you're
buy a comic book.
or get out of a rock.
I know.
Yeah, like there have been 2 retellings and they are perfectly good retellings.
Yeah.
And frankly, both of them could almost work as that's just the same character. It's almost like we just got a new actor.
I actually said this,
effectively it's all the same.
I actually said the same thing when I first saw the Batman versus Superman or whatever that is. That was the first thing that came to mind. Why the hell are you telling me about Bruce Wayne and how he became Batman? I already know that. We've had like several movies to explain that.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on.
Yeah,
people.
like
I don't know. It's like they have to keep hammering at home that his parents are dead. Because if they don't, people are going to be like, man, this guy must have had really crappy parents.
Yeah, where did he come
What the hell? What the hell's wrong with this dude's problem?
But I just want to get back to Captain America for a second. And the only reason why I really like the first one,
I really like how we are in the middle of a discussion about comic books, and you have a Ghostbuster sitting here. I like how you brought me in to give my opinion about the Marvel movies.
we're going to get back to that. It's all.
I like Thor's hammer, by the way. I'm just gonna.
I don't know how we got into
alternate
this.
universe World War II. That's what I liked. That's what I liked about it, because for me, alternate, like if you guys ever get a chance, see The Man in the High Castle. It's on
between the Nazis and the
Japanese take over America.
I've read the book.
Okay,
It's one of the very few Philip. It's K. Dick, right? Philip K. Dick, or am I thinking Philip J. Fry? I might be confusing my literary authors with a Futurama character. But it's one of the few books he wrote that I actually dug. Like, there's a lot of the stuff that he wrote that gets made into a movie that I love.
Yeah.
And I like, Blade Runner. It's a freaking amazing movie, and it informed so much of my literary tastes.
Oh, we can do a whole show on Blade Runner. So.
Right? It's a beautiful movie. I mean, Ridley Scott has never made a non-beautiful movie. There is no movie he's ever made that has not been cinematically beautiful.
I tend to disagree.
Okay, so
But
getting back to
yeah.
the Ghostbuster thing.
Getting back to the
I want to talk a little bit about the Ontario Ghostbusters.
Please.
Okay, before we do that,
That's something I can actually talk about.
Let's do some show and tell.
That's what I was going to say.
Oh, okay, perfect.
So
Okay.
I did read about.
Thank you.
I remember reading about you guys before, and like how to become a Ghostbuster and all this other stuff. And part of it was you have to be able to make your own equipment, or you have to be responsible for making your own uniform. Is that true?
Well, you don't have to necessarily make your own equipment.
You can buy it.
Yeah, you can buy it. We're not like, if you don't know how to weld and solder, then get the hell out, right? But yeah, you need to be responsible enough to have your own equipment,
And it
to
has
have
to
your
look-
own basic.
It has to look
kit.
decent. Like
Yeah.
it can't look like you put
so
it together with tinfoil.
The
or something.
general idea we want to go with here is when because we're raising charity money, and
Yes.
a little bit of that is appearance. We need to make the appearance
Let me
look
see that thing.
right. It's on the bottom.
I'm no Egon, but
There you go.
all right.
We need to
Beeping.
make the appearance look well.
Yeah.
So if you come in and
There's a ghost.
your suit looks terrible, or it's like neon pink or something, it detracts a little bit from what we're trying to do.
Actually, yeah, exactly.
Right?
You don't want to be getting somebody in who's saying we're authentic, we're this,
Yeah.
and then they come in and you're like, that
Who
looks
the
like a
hell is
Halloween
this guy,
costume,
right?
you know?
Yeah.
Okay. here's another reference because I do those. Have either of you seen Stargate SG-1, the television show off the Roland Emmerich movie?
Not me.
Yes,
Not
yes,
you?
yes.
Have you noticed how every time they're on screen, they're all wearing the same color?
Yeah.
And there's even been comments in later seasons like, how do you guys know if you're wearing blue or green or whatever today, right? It's kind of like that. Thematically, when you are presenting something to the public, it is so much easier if you're all in the same general outfit than if you're not.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
It's human nature.
You don't want to show up as a stormtrooper wearing shorts.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
It's the same idea.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same. I was just imagining our buddies in the 501st wearing shorts in this. They probably would be thankful. You could actually sit down.
Yeah, that's true.
They don't. The poor dudes cannot sit down in those things.
But the thing is, you're right. You got to look the part. You got to, you got the boots. You got the flight suit. You got all the little bits and bobs. Look, they even have a trap. Here, show us this.
I can show you that.
Isn't this so cool? So cool. With the, I love it. With
Complete
the sound
with
effects.
sounds. It's not going to suck me in, is it?
Well, don't look at it.
Don't
Look at the trap. Don't look at the trap.
Like what? This is your first time looking at state-of-the-art equipment like this?
I know. I mean, I think they sell this at the Walmart, really.
So, this is something
Yeah.
that Mattel actually produced.
Shut up.
They
Really?
did. So they, through their Matty brand collector,
Yeah.
so they produced that and the
I was going to say, this
PKE.
looks like, this doesn't look like it was done, like, handcrafted or
Nope.
anything. Like, this is
So
actually-
they did that, oh god, I want to say 4 or 5 years ago. They started producing these high-level replicas. And they did it in super low qualities. So, like, I think their first run of PKEs was like 200. 200 PKEs for the world.
Okay, Bradley, here you go.
Yeah, you got to show that.
You got to
off.
show this
That-
and you got to
that
explain
thing's-
it.
That's a serious thing.
This is your standard Proton pack. Well, it's my standard Proton pack. This is something I make. This is me, right? It has a resin body. It has fiberglass additions. Most of the additional stuff, like the clipboards, the resistors here, those are all real clipboards and resistors, right? So the pneumatic, where are you? The pneumatic valve here and on the gun are real. I did the wiring myself.
How did you do this? Did somebody blueprint this, or did you guys just copy it from like frame by frame from the movies and just copy it that way?
So it's
heavy.
I know. You don't have to tell me.
He knows that.
The movie's been out for about 30 years now, so people have taken pretty high detailed pictures from props that have turned up at like Planet Hollywood and whatnot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So there are
I've seen one of these in I think it was at the exhibition. They had a Ghostbuster display, and I've seen that.
So you do have plans out there.
Yeah.
There are like highly detailed plans that will give you an exact replica. Like, okay, this to this, that to that. The curvature of this arm is this type of thing, right? And it kind of depends on how much money you want to spend on it.
Now, how much money have you spent on this building? This?
I spent enough.
He doesn't want to say.
Okay, I got you. I understand. When it comes to hobbies, things can go nuts.
You know,
it gets a little nuts. I would say
Ballpark it.
Ballpark it. You're looking between, if you get lucky, $1,000. If you want total accuracy and like aluminum parts,
Yeah.
$5,000.
Yeah,
$5
it. I believe it.
But I mean, again, we actually live in a marvelous era for props because we live in an era where everything is an internet click or two away.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
That's true.
When I started to build these things, it was like if you knew a guy who knew a guy who knew a guy.
Yeah.
And maybe you can contact him, and then you send him a money order because there is no such thing as PayPal.
Yeah. That's
And
true.
you're like, okay, I hope this isn't a scam.
Yeah.
I hope this thing I get
I get
isn't
my
going
part.
to look like
Yeah.
this crappy aluminum plate that he punched holes in.
Yeah.
Right? These days, there are websites out there who will build them for you.
Yeah, exactly.
There are places you can go to get these. There are wonderful resources online to tell you where to go.
There was a guy on Pawn Stars who brought one of these things.
Video Bob.
Yes, I remember because he also brought in a DeLorean before.
Oh, really?
Pimped up.
Video
like Back
Bob
to
is
the
a little
Future.
infamous in the builders, the circles.
I've heard about him. Yeah, it's the same thing. Because when I was talking about in our last podcast, we talked about the Back to the Future car, and someone from the ODOC, Ken Kopowski, the guy who lives in our area, he's got that DeLorean pimped out just like the Back to the Future. Same thing.
Exactly.
He had to track down all the parts.
Yeah.
He had to go to the States. He talked to the guy who built the original car. These people who get into this really have a heart for their...
Well, exactly. And it's people who get into it early.
Yeah, I was about to say, as much, like, as hard as these things can be to make sometimes, right? They don't hold a candle to what we're doing for the new movie and the new props right now.
Yeah.
Because all of that is untested stuff. All of that is stuff that we have to look at this picture, this still frame from the movie.
You're talking about making like a proton pack
from the
of
new
the
or
girls.
any
or
of
any
the props,
new movie.
Anything.
right? So like last year at FanX, when the very first pictures of the uniforms of the new flight suits came out,
with
we
the
were like,
orange.
okay, what color is this really?
Right.
We're seeing it in daylight, so we can. It's got to be close to the original khakis.
Yeah.
But we don't know the origin of these photos. They could have a lens on it. They could have anything. Okay, well, there's that. Well, we see these neck flaps. We see these things. We see it's got a pocket here. It's got the striping. How big is the striping? Well, if we assume that Melissa McCarthy's arm is this big, then it's mathematically going to be this, right?
Right.
And that's a lot of guesswork. It's also a lot of like pseudo mathematical
But that's
science.
That's the fun part of it.
The details.
But getting in at the beginning and figuring all this shit out
and going through it all, and then
Yeah.
at the end of it, like 2 months almost after those first pictures came out, was FanX, and we had new flight suits. We had the reboot flight suits.
So you actually built a full-on...
I made 7 of them.
7 of them.
Holy shit.
What about the Proton Pack, though?
I'm working on it.
Still working on it? And
I'm working on
like
it.
Even like everything they had, there was nothing in that movie that resembled, like, not even this thing was the same. It looked weird. I don't know. I'm still not sure. It kind of had these, like, things poking out of it, like an octopus thing. It was going all crazy.
The thing of it, here's the thing of it. So I think the design for their PKE was a little bit from the cartoon series and a little bit from the original, because the cartoon series has this kind of guarded...
Which cartoon series? The first one?
Yeah, the real Ghostbusters.
The real one, yeah.
Because it has this kind of guarded window display that I think the new one features.
Yes.
It also has like this top-out projector, and then the sticks come up, right?
Yes.
So I think that's what's informing this, because it's got this projection, and then they have these lights that run down it, and then as it detects a ghost, it spins faster, and those arms open up. So I think that was kind of the gentle homage that they're making,
Right.
And that's the kind of thing that no one who is not an insane fan like me is going to see.
Yeah.
But I'm going to see, and I'm going to be like, I get you. I get where you're getting
Yes.
this. I see your design throughput.
Yes.
And I appreciate that you're putting that kind of work in it.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, even some of the close-ups, I think
Now I got to see this movie.
it's Patty. For the poster sheets, they have the 4 girls. They're all holding different bits of equipment. Like Melissa McCarthy, you see the gun barrel, and
Kate McKinnon has the gun, has the handguns thing.
She has the handguns, but on the back, on the poster, it's the back of the pack, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's Patty that has the new PKE. And if you look at the numbers on the top of the PKE, if you are a fan, I think you'll recognize those numbers. I think if you look at the top poster of that PKE, that close-up, you'll recognize some of those. You'll recognize the numbers.
Okay, don't say it. Let people out there.
No, I'm going to let them do it.
They'll figure it out.
It's one of those things where it's like, that's such a subtle nod.
Yeah.
And it's such a detail that no one's ever going to see unless they're really looking.
Yeah.
And again, hats off to the design team. I get what you're going for, and I appreciate all the effort, right?
So it's weird though that why would Patty be the one with the PKA meter? Because from the movie I remember it was always McCarthy who was carrying it, right?
Well, yeah, but I think they were just looking to show off their bits of equipment,
They just
right?
had to-
I mean, you don't always have the movie poster doesn't always reveal everything about the movie, right?
Because in the original Ghostbusters, it was pretty much always Egon that had
who had the PKE, right?
Probably because he was the only one who could read it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, maybe Ray could. Venkman always seemed like he didn't know how to use the
I
equipment.
mean, if you look at the goggles, right? Everybody has a turn wearing the goggles, right?
Yeah.
Everybody has a turn like throwing this thing around, right?
And I think in the first one too, they made the original, or what do we call it? The '80s one.
I think we call it Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
Yes,
we call it
exactly.
Ghostbusters. There was that whatever that thing was that Venkman had when he first went into Dana Barrett's apartment, and it had this
the little squishy thing?
He's just
The sniffer.
That fucking thing was hilarious.
She makes a comment. She's like, "You sure you're using that thing right?" And he's just like, I think so. I'm like, it's kind of giving you that nod.
Do you know what that is? Do you know what that thing
I think
was?
I looked
Do you
into
know
it
what
too.
is?
I've looked into it.
It's a combustible gas reader.
Yeah.
So the idea is like it's for detecting like
Gas
emissions, right?
Yeah.
And so they almost didn't do a thing to it. It was just a thing. It was a prop
It's a
they had
real
kicking
tool.
around.
But it's a hilarious prop for a hilarious
and
scene.
and they
He's
never
just there
expla-
squeezing the thing.
and they never explain what it is, right? She asks,
I don't know.
"What is that thing you're doing?" He's like, "Oh, it's just one of our doodads, you know."
And it's one of the wonderful thing about these props because it runs the gamut from that thing, which is probably something they had kicking around and just said, "Here,
we need
hold
a
this."
tool.
And to something like this, which is all like a custom built thing. And then in the second movie, there's a prop called the Cud meter, right? It is a metal detector body.
Was that the one that was rounded and?
Well, it's got like a strainer at the end, a spatula strainer at the end, and it's got another spatula in front of it, and it's called the Cud meter because Cud, K-U-D, stands for kitchen utensil device.
Yes.
And it is basically something that the prop guys whipped together in an afternoon and just said, "Oh, well, I've got a strainer. Well, if we bolt that to this and then we put this thing in front of it, it looks like a homemade prop." And for the movie, it fits perfectly.
Oh,
When
exactly.
did they use that?
Ghostbusters 2.
No, like what part in the
Oh,
movie?
what scene? I think you see it most prominently
When they went down into the sewers, right?
well,
That was a Geiger meter.
oh, that was the
Nobody
thing with
scoops them up.
Oh, that's not that's the scooper. That's a different thing. This I think is most prominently seen when they go to investigate Vigo at the art museum.
Ah.
When it,
All right, I think it's Winston that has it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm
Okay,
sure
it's
there's
coming
all
back.
sorts
It's
of
coming
ghost
back.
heads online right now going, "You idiot! Have you even seen the movies? You can't tell me what Winston was holding in any one scene."
Oh, come on. There was so much going on in that scene, okay? I mean,
I was lost in Vigo's eyes, okay?
that whole
I've got a thing
section,
for ancient Moldavian tyrants.
I think
Shut up, you can't judge me.
I think that whole part of the movie when they first went in there and Peter McNichol was there and he's just like, "No, where are you, Kim?" And Venkman was like, "Johnny, where are you from?" Like, I love that
Yeah,
scene.
That scene was funny.
The upper left side. And it's like, I love that scene, right? And there's just so much that happened in that one thing to really pay attention to what's going on, like to notice the tools, to notice everything.
Yeah.
And, even when Ray was up on the ladder and he was like all like staring at Vigo, and
Yep.
like just so much happened there, right? To remember one of the tools and stuff. But yeah, so I don't know. There's just so much to.
I think we're done. I think we just Ghostbusted ourselves to pieces, and we are at the 53-minute mark. So
53 minutes. Okay.
So we're over our regular schedule.
Really?
This is how good and intriguing
Hey.
having you here was.
Okay, so to wrap
Now,
things up,
to defer from my prepared comments, I'd like to talk a little bit about the controversies in the United States. No, I'm not going to
No.
do that.
But give us all your information, where people can contact you,
So,
everything.
yes.
Go for it.
If you would like to contact us, the Ontario Ghostbusters, your best location is on Facebook at the Ontario Ghostbusters. If you're not, you can always harness the power of Google to type in the Ontario Ghostbusters.
That's what I did.
At which point, you'd get us again.
Found you.
Exactly.
Those are your best places to get us.
Perfect.
Or come see us at a convention. Come see
Fan
us
Expo.
at Fan Expo. We'll
Well,
be there
I'll be there.
raising money Bring money.
I will bring money,
You
even
can
though
get-
I'm unemployed.
You can get T-shirts such as these.
I what? I don't grow up. Just get better.
I didn't grow up. I just got better toys.
Ah,
And you know what? It's true.
And on that note, the Man Cave Cinema is
closed.